Okay, now we're going to do the two left columns. They do go together. Remember, these are squares and these are square roots. Okay, with the square root symbol, it's understood that it has a superscript of 2 up here. We just don't write it. Just know that that is why they are inverses, because the square root is asking what number times itself gives you the number under the radical. But first, let's start with the squares. This middle column here for the squares, you're just expanding what it's asking us to do. So 1 squared is asking us to take 1 times 1, which is equal to 1. 2 squared is asking us what is 2 times 2, which is, and 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is, remember to multiply. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is, and 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is, and 6 squared is 6 times 6, which is, 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is, 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is, and 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is, and 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is, okay, now, we all recognize the pattern that each squared value, we just take the factor times itself and write its product over here, right? Okay, so now we are going to show the reverse of that. So what is the square root of 1? In other words, I'm asking you what number times itself is 1? And then I'm going to take this product 4. What is the square root of 4? In other words, what number times itself is 4? 2. Okay. So this one, what is the square root of 9? 3. 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. So really what we're doing, we're taking the square root of that perfect square, is we're going back to the base over here, right? So what is the square root of 16? What is the square root of 25? What is the square root of 36? Square root of 49? Square root of 64? Square root of 81? And the square root of 100. Okay, take a few minutes and make sure that your chart is filled out correctly. Some of us are getting ahead of ourselves and moving too quickly. Double check your stuff, please. Shh. Okay, now the other 2 columns on the right are cubing a value and then cube rooting a value. Remember that they are supposed to undo each other. They're inverses. So 1 to the third means that we're taking 1 times 1 times 1, which is, okay. And so then 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2, which is, okay. And then 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, guys, we are not adding, we are multiplying. Okay, so 4 times 4 times 4. And then 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, take a few seconds and see if you can fill out the rest of these rows for that column. Absolutely. the expansion of 6 to the third is 6 times 6 times 6. 216. We have 7 times 7 times 7. Okay, and then we have 8 times 8 times 8. And then we have 9 times 9 times 9. And then we have 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, so now we're going to look at the cube root values. Remember that we are taking the cube root of the product that we found over here and working backwards. So the cube root of 1, in other words, what times itself 3 times is 1. We can see that it is 1. What is the cube root of 8? 2. What is the cube root of 27? The cube root is 64, is because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. The cube root of 125. The cube root of 216. The cube root of 343. The cube root of 512. That's right. The cube root of 729. And the cube root of 1,000.